Someone like Amy Winehouse was more like, you got to kind of pay attention more to get what she's saying. He's definitely the opposite of that, of like, I can know a lick of English and still really get what he's saying.
Really coming for a boy Posty.
That's a compliment. He's Mr. Worldwide.
Oh, I didn't realize that did not sound like a compliment to me. We'll leave that to the listener to determine whether or not that was a compliment.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. Make sure everyone on YouTube, you like, share, and subscribe to us. Comment on this video, and please let us know, what albums are we missing? Is there an album that you love, you want us to review? Please let us know. My name is Adriel Smiley, a.k.a. AdrielSmiley.com, a.k.a. Adriel Smiley Official, a.k.a. The Godfather. We are here with His Royal Highness, about to review his boy, King Grant.
Allegedly, my boy. I don't know if that's not necessarily true, but we're back, and we're also here with our producer, Patient Zero, Chris. We're here. I don't know if people realize we're wearing the same shirts. Same shirts, different album. We are reviewing Post Malone's Austin, right? I would say one of those albums where I think he's getting personal. We're seeing the cover where it's just him. Austin is his first name. And I think that we're in for a little bit of a introspective version of Post Malone. How are you feeling about introspective Posty?
I think it's very interesting. Very interesting. I feel like he has that mix as an artist where he has these huge singles. We talked about the Diamond Collection a few months ago. He has these huge songs, insanely popular artist, but he's kind of almost always been honest and introspective in his music.
Right.
He has, again, some songs that are more poppy, more light in their content, but that's always been a part of his music. And that's not always been something that people have noticed. So yeah. I'm very kind of interested in this next part of his career where that is more of the focus.
Right. Yeah, I was actually talking to Chris about this, where I was like, hey, did you notice that like he's getting really deep in his like emotional bag? And Chris was like, yeah, I was kind of just like listening to it like by the pool, like cracking beer. And I was like, didn't even realize it. I was like, oh, it's a great pop album. I was like, are you reading the lyrics? Are you reading the lyrics? Because it's not light at all.
You see what he's going through?
Yeah, I think that you're right, because he has songs like Sunflower, Congratulations, White Iverson.
Fall Apart.
Right? Fall Apart is more on the nose, right? But songs like Sunflower and White Iverson, he's not really going into that emotionality, right? And he can be this massive pop star in that sense. But I definitely think he's drilling down on this album, drilling down. And it's become one of those like instances where I am now no longer considering him a hip hop artist, I think.
Fair.
I think he has stepped further and further away since Beer Bongs and Bentleys. I would say was the last time you could be like, it's hip hop music. I don't know if he's a rapper, kind of like a T-Pain situation, T-Pain, Don Toliver situation. But now it's like, it's not hip hop anymore.
No, that's 100% correct.
Yeah.
I want to mention our previous review we did, 12 Karat Toothache. That was his last project. Can you say, or can you remember what score you gave him?
I think it was a 5 or 5.5. I think it was a 5.5.
Incorrect.
Okay.
You gave him a 3.5.
Damn.
I gave him a 5. And you said had to knock this down an extra 0.5 after listening to it a few more times. And one thing we did mention on that review, and I thought it was great that we mentioned at the top here, is saying that he needs to lean more into hip hop. That's something we said on the last pod. He needs to lean back into hip hop. Yeah. He ain't give a shit about what we had to say because he went the complete opposite way. And you're right. Calling him a rapper or hip hop adjacent at this point, that's over with. This album, there is none of that. Now, there were 2 singles from this project, Chemical, which was released first, and then Mourning, which was released second. Now, I hadn't heard any of these singles. And it's so interesting that someone like Post Malone can kind of, be away from my algorithm, how big of an artist he is, the hits that he has. We did that pod about the top, 50 songs ever on Spotify. He was there a few times.
Yeah.
He was there a few times. So he having these singles that, again, not as big as what he's used to is very, very new for him. And then the style of production, I think that's the only place we can really start at, because that's the biggest difference. I'm calling this his folklore.
Oh, wow.
This is like the Post Malone-ification of folklore for him. Very, very stripped down. There are so much songs in a row that don't have drums, or songs where the drums are there for a brief moment and then they're gone. This is so different from what we're used to from him. What did you think about the production?
I think the production, it's good at times, right? I think it's good at times. I think songs like Mourning, Speedometer,
yeah,
right? Texas Tea.
Yeah, everyone loves that one.
Right? Big. I think like when he kind of like tries to go big or like soulful or like really introspective, but like gritty, it works. Right? I think it works in that sense. The other tracks, he kind of gets trapped in this like what I like to call mall rock.
Yo,
right?
Yeah, talk about it, please.
Where he's basically just kind of stuck in this space, and I wrote it down specifically where it was mall rock, where he just kind of gets in this space where it's so like straight as an arrow type of like indie rock music that it's just like, why are we making this? Like, where's the artistic value in making it?
He has a lot of those. Even though I like Speedometer, I think Speedometer is one of those. Sign Me Up.
Yeah,
is one of those. Even Chemical, which is a single.
Yes,
is one of those. It's funny because I said this a bit on the last project, and it seems like they stepped more in this lane of it feels to me like 80s pop music is a huge influence here.
Yep.
You call it more mall rock, which I think is that's actually more accurate to what it is. It's like they think they're doing 80s pop, but it ends up as mall rock. The group that I thought of is this band called Joan. I don't know if you guys are aware of them.
No.
But their whole sound is very much like 80s pop, 80s yacht rock vibe. And if you didn't know who it was, you would have thought this music came out in the 80s for sure. Post Malone, not really on the nose with his production. And I want to talk about his vocals a little bit before we even talk about any lyrics or anything, because I think that is his biggest, I guess, downfall. I think the more that he's stripped away the production and gone away from hip hop, it kind of exposes his vocals a little bit more. And I think that, like, again, we're in 2023. I've said this basically every episode. The bar is on the floor, like, it's not a matter of the most talented people are the most popular. Those days are long gone. When the top artists were the most talented, when it was the Michael Jacksons, the Prince, the Bruce Springsteens, Whitney Houstons, those days are done. Most popular and most talented do not always coincide. And his voice for a lot of these, I think, really hurts some of these songs because he can't really stretch his voice to octaves and levels that other singers can. He has to really stay in his pocket. It's like a player who has no crossover. It's like, you fast, but once you cross the ball over, it's going out of bounds.
Yeah,
that is definitely Post Malone. There are certain
Jaylen Brown. You're telling me Post Malone is Jaylen Brown?
Maybe highest paid player in NBA history right now. So maybe, but I think that's where I want to say I see something missing, because a lot of these songs are not bad songs. He's at a point, honestly, where he's not making bad songs. It's just if you like it or don't like it, but the songs themselves are not bad songs. But there's places he can't go vocally where it's like it's very obvious, because he has that talent of melody, of cadence. He is great at that. He knows what he's doing. He knows what works. He doesn't get boring with his cadences and his melodies very often. But there's notes he definitely can't hit.
Yeah.
He can't get involved. None of that.
Give me some of the songs. I want to hear some of the songs. You like to hide behind the jet. Give me the songs.
Chemical.
Yeah.
I hate to highlight the single because I think there's other stuff on here, but Chemical is one in that, I don't know, chorus bridge where he goes, ooh. That sounds good when he does it. But that's an example to me of like, if he could really, really sing, Harry Styles would be in a falsetto at that point, or insert even Ed Sheeran. That's when he would hit, the high note. So it's like, I think that's where Post Malone really hurts us, because he can't even enter that category. Like, he doesn't. It's not even like he can be like, oh, I can't hit all the notes. He can't hit some of the notes. So it's like a song like that. That's where it's clear where you know what? Honestly, I think that's why he's so popular, is because he has all these songs that you can actually sing. It's like The Weeknd has plenty of songs where it's like, you hear me trying to sing it, it sounds like an animal is in pain.
Yeah.
But when he sings it, beautiful.
Yep.
Post Malone, we could sound a little similar when we sing it. And that's kind of the charming thing about his music. So I think that makes him not as good as some of his peers and contemporaries, especially when he's going to make this kind of more acoustic, guitar-driven sound. But that's not going to change, is my point. I think I've thought that for a while, that he's not a great singer vocally. That's not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah. Oh, so backhand compliment, but everybody can sing his songs, but okay. I think that, I agree. I agree with, like, being the best technical singer, being the best technical, I think we live in a period of time right now. Being the best technical anything is not enough or even worthy of, like, being
popular. Yeah.
Right? It's about stylization, right? And I think Post Malone has that, right? And I think he has that, for example, on a song like Something Real.
That's one of my favorites.
That's probably the best song. That's one of his best songs in a while. That's one of his best songs. Actually. Something Real is one of his best songs in a while, where he has like the choir behind him, right? But it's also extremely dramatic. But like we were talking about how he's not the best technically proficient singer, he is really good at displaying emotionality in his music. Like, you can really get the torture, the sadness, the want. Like, that is really coming across, because one thing that he is very technically proficient at is the vibrato, right? And that song is littered with vibrato in the singing, right? And I think that he's able to just let it rip multiple times, It's like every second line, he's going like, the goat sound, which is vibrato, but like he's going for it multiple times, and I think it works perfectly.
That's something you mentioned on the last review, and I think that's one of his powers.
Yes,
regardless of singing ability, that's one of his powers, where that can really bring a sense of depth to a song that wouldn't be there otherwise. A song like Something Real, that's probably my favorite song on this project. And I obviously started out optimistic. Once I heard Something Real, I said, okay. So I was like, all right. Yeah. Obviously, that's not what happened the rest of the project. But I think of songs like that, you insert, other great singer here, 2014 Sam Smith. Probably still would have been a big song regardless, but do we feel it the same way? And I think that is the one thing about the production plus his vocals that does work. I think that there's a lot of things that don't work on here, at least for me. But that's one thing that does work, is the emotionality mixed with the production, and those two kind of fitting together. Yeah. Do you have any other production notes? Because I want someone to say something nice about him.
Okay. This is where we sprinkle, this is the mix. I think that I want to just give some examples of the mall rock that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Buyer Beware.
You're reading my mind, bro. You're reading my mind, bro.
Buyer Beware. What else can I give you? I think Buyer Beware. Enough is Enough. I'm just going through the list here because I try to make sure that I wrote it down. Landmine. Where it's just mall rock is almost kind of, it's mall rock, but it's like department store rock, where it's the acoustic guitar. Vocals are not really spectacular in any sort of way, and it goes because somebody's already built it before, and we're just taking a spin on it. It's not really anything special.
You just said it right. Not spectacular in any way.
Yeah,
it's like, it doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, he doesn't really do bad songs anymore.
Yeah,
I don't think Post Malone can really do.
Yeah, he's too good for that. Like, even though he does lack some things vocally.
Yeah.
He's too good to make a bad song at this point.
Yeah.
But these songs aren't like, you're not Shazamming this.
No.
Like, if you're in Canadian Tire and you're in aisle 17 looking for a lawn chair and you hear one of these.
They're just like, oh, they're playing the radio.
Yeah, you're not, what's this?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably where I think he's going to stay. Lyrically, I think this is where, and this is part of why I'm calling it his folklore, he's definitely trying to step it up.
But I think he's shining, though.
Yeah.
You don't think he's shining?
No, he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing.
You don't think he's shining? I thought he was shining.
I do think he's much better lyrically.
Yeah.
But I think it is much of the same kind of content-wise as he's been before. This is like the 4th time he's told me he's trying to sober up. This is like the 8th time he's told me he doesn't love himself. So, I feel for him. I'm sure I would love to give him a big hug, but content-wise, he's not at a different place than he was before. On the chorus on Mourning, he says, "Don't want to sober up. The sun is killing my buzz. That's why they call it Mourning. Thought I was strong enough. Threw my bottle at the sky. Got to that's a warning. Don't want to sober up. Trying to keep it inside, but I just want to pour it. Thought I was strong enough. Got a lot of shit to say. Couldn't find it in the chorus." He is. I don't want to say he's floating. That's going a little bit too far, but I can feel the effortlessness of his songwriting.
Right.
I think that he's able to say what he actually wants to say in his songwriting, and that's something you see, on a lot of songs. But I think this chorus on Mourning and it being the chorus is the part of it. Is like he doesn't have to kind of sacrifice it being catchy for it making sense or it being catchy for me saying what I want to say. He's able on every song to say say what he wants to say. Don't want to be sober. The sun is killing my buzz. That's why they call it Mourning. That's clever with being straightforward. You could read that and be like, I get what he's saying. I get it. I don't need him to sing it for it to click to me. So this is another example of kind of his flex of his songwriting. And I think that I guess why I'm not as enthusiastic is that his songwriting is very tailor-made for a person who's not like a music fan. Like if you're not like a true music fan or like deep listener to lyrics, he's for you. You know what I mean? Like I expect you to say, "Oh my God, greatest writer of our time." Like he's for that person, Someone like Amy Winehouse was more like, you got to kind of pay attention more to get what she's saying. He's definitely the opposite of that, of like, I can know a lick of English and still really get what he's saying.
Really coming for our boy Posty.
That's a compliment. He's Mr. Worldwide.
Oh, I didn't realize that did not sound like a compliment to me. We'll leave that to the listener to determine whether or not that was a compliment. I do think he is making it. I think that his writing is vivid, right? I think that it is a little bit simplistic. You can follow it very easily, but I do think that it is vivid. I think on Novacandy is probably one of the best examples of showing like how like chaotic his life is, and he kind of just like doesn't care anymore. Like he's just over it at this point where he's like, this is in verse 1. In verse 1, put on my old coat and I found new drugs. Want to thank young me for getting me fucked up. A distant relative just bit the dust. Somehow I'm in the will for $1 million. And baby, I just won a fucking free trip to Disneyland. I just got a second blue check on Instagram. Oh, and it feels so good tonight. Let's act like we never gonna get it back. So basically, it's chaos, right? People are dying. New drugs. I'm happy for the new drugs. Even though I've been trying to get sober, right? And another relative bit the dust. I got $1 million, and I really like this part where he's like, I just got a second blue check on Instagram, where it's just like, whatever, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got a second blue check, $1 million. People are dying. New drug. Who gives a shit, right? And I think that group of lyrics really shows like how like upside down the world can be for him, where he's just like, man, everything is happening all at once. I don't care. Like, it feels so good tonight. Let's act if we're never gonna get it back, basically. So it's like another day, another dollar. Let's try to make the best of it. So I think that he is, it is simplistic because like he tells you.
Yeah.
Right? But the painting of the picture, the chaotic picture, is great. It's like, the painter like kind of like throwing specks at the canvas. And you're like, oh, this actually looks pretty awesome, right? Even though you can see like what he's doing is something you'd be like, I think I could do that, but it still looks awesome. So that's, I think, a strength of Post Malone's work.
I think that's something that he'll always have because even at this point, he's past like keep staying relevant or keeping in the minds of people. He doesn't even relate to him at all.
Yeah,
he's past that. He has songs that will be playing
forever, probably
basically until the internet passes out.
Yeah,
that's where he's at right now.
I was at a wedding. And Congratulations played.
We played Congratulations last week. Congratulations to our friends for getting their first place. That was the song we played. So it's like they'll always be around. And I think that's like something about you say he's painting the picture. Like this is a picture that is like not only him, but it will be him for the foreseeable future. There aren't that many like newer artists, so to speak, who is like he could stop making music today and he'll still be this famous for.
Yeah. For real.
So that's something I thought about with his lyrics is like, people used to say he's always rapping about being famous. And it's like Post Malone is not the same kind of famous as your favorite TikToker. Like this is a very different ball game here. And especially with his look, like.
Yeah, you see there's no mistaking Post Malone ever.
So it's like that I think is part of, his life as well as like anonymity has gone out the window. There are other celebrities, other people who have money who live a more low-key life, a more quiet life. Post Malone it seems like he has tried to live that life, but has much escaped him. So I think him painting the picture, I don't want to say it makes you feel pity for him sometimes. Like there are times when you do, like in some of his lyrics where it's like, okay, he's definitely struggling with sobriety or it's hard for him.
You have a lyric for that?
No.
No?
I personally did not feel like that for him. But there are moments when I know people do feel like that.
Yeah, I do. I agree. There are definitely times where he is like, this is in Mourning, right? Where he's like, this is in the chorus actually. First of all, before the chorus happens, he has like a hiccup.
Yeah.
Right? Which like indicates that he's actually drunk even doing the song. But he's like, don't want to sober up. The sun, you said this part, I believe, right? The sun is killing my buzz. That's why they call it Mourning, right? I thought I was strong enough. Threw my bottle at the sky. God, that's a warning, right? Don't want to sober up. Try to keep it inside. I just want to pour it. Thought I was strong enough, right? So there is the self-loathing, right? That's people feel pity for. I agree. There's tons of self-loathing. Everything sucks. I hate myself. And he's also trying to get over the sobriety thing or trying to get over the alcoholism thing, but also like giving into it. Like he acknowledges giving into it. Like that's why it's like, that's probably why ultimately I think he's trying to display like a sadness and maybe you feeling sad for him. Right. So that's the pity you're getting at, I think.
What do you think this means for his career? I think this is such a unique place for him to be right now because the last project, what was the big single from the last project? We kind of were at a loss at what that was. Even though a lot of songs did well streaming wise, we didn't know what that huge hit was. I don't see that huge hit on this one either. And you know what? I always, with these reviews, do my homework and ask the people in my life who are fans of the artist.
Right.
What do you think of the project? Where are you at with it? And one of the biggest Post Malone fans I know, she said, I feel like I listened to a country album.
Yes.
And she said she only had 2 songs that she liked. I think it was the T song and Chemical.
Yep. Okay.
And, I think this is the place where he is like, I don't know if his fans are going to love this project. I would guess that they are not because a lot of his biggest songs, basically all his biggest songs, don't follow this format.
Yeah.
But I think they'll still be fans. And that's kind of where he's at is like, people are not going to love this project, but they will still buy tickets to the next Post Malone show.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good overall for him. I think it adds depth to Post Malone. Also, there's been like a few instances where people like see him in real life and they're like, is he okay? Right? Like where he's on stage and he kind of looks a little like disoriented, right? Or like, like disoriented and people are like, is he all right? And then obviously they're connecting it to the music. So they're like, okay, is he like is there like an overdose happening? Is he just like so high that he doesn't know where he is right now?
It's giving Juice World.
It's giving Juice World. It's giving Mac Miller. It's giving a lot of people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because
unfortunately is right.
Because I like Post Malone, right? I think most people, if they had that scenario of like, 5 people that you can have a beer with, who would you have on the list? I feel like Post Malone would be on a lot of people's list.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely well liked.
Right? So I think that we want to see Post Malone getting better. So I think ultimately this is good for the career because it adds depth to the Post Malone sphere and allows people to dig deeper, which I think is kind of hard to do when you're massive like Post Malone.
Yes. I think what this does for his career as well is I think this really cements him not being hip hop anymore.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that he's had some choice words about hip hop that a lot of people did not like. I think that him as being a white person in this space, a whole separate issue into itself. And, if I had to guess, I don't think he'll have the same success he had in hip hop outside of hip hop. But I think that this cements him that he's not, I don't say he's not going back because I don't think that's the case, but that he's not living there anymore.
Exactly.
So that's what this really does for his career is it lets everyone know, okay, he's in a different part of his career. He's stepped forward, he's stepped ahead. So a different part of his career. Now the cover.
Go ahead.
I actually like this cover.
Me too.
I think it is really nice. It does give that like it gets kind of the vibe he's talking about on the project. Like it is a pool.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we love a backyard pool. The house itself, we can't really see, but it's Post Malone. We can only imagine, 12 bathrooms, 10 bedrooms. But I think that this is like the most him that's been on the cover. Like most of the covers have been kind of like
his back,
drawn, cartoonish, his back.
Yeah.
This is the most he's been on the cover, but not glamorized.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a good cover for that reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he does understand that his facial hair adds this level of like he looks disheveled, right? And I think the facial hair, like long facial hair, you cut, his hair is kind of long now, and like he's wearing jeans, but his feet are in the pool, right? So it kind of like it solidifies this like it's chaos. Like chaos within me, even though everything looks put together, there a YOut person is wearing jeans but no shirt, but in the pool, screams this person is like losing it a little bit
drugs,
to me.
Yes. On drugs, yes.
Right, and he's also like squinting into the sun, like like almost like where am I? So I think it definitely sells the rest of the project. Right, like it makes sense when you're listening to the project and you're watching, when you're listening to Austin and you're looking at the cover, it makes a lot of sense. And I think it looks overall good. I think the blue crisp is like a really, really, really nice blue. So I think that the cover for it is great.
Are you gonna be getting the vinyl?
That one's that's a little bit tough. I don't think I'm getting the vinyl. Pretty easily. I'm not getting the vinyl. Even though I think it looks great. The music, there's only so much mall rock I can listen to purposefully.
Yeah, I'm not getting the vinyl either. Multiple times listening to this project, I was like, this shit ain't done?
Right.
Like, 17 songs.
50 minutes.
50 minutes. This is a no for me.
Yeah.
There is a vinyl for it, so that's all y'all who do want to get this.
Yeah, shout out to the Posty fans.
Shop Spotify. You can go ahead and get that. But let's just get right to the score because we've given Post Malone a lot of love, some criticism, of course. But I don't know if I want to say this is the last time we should review Post Malone, but he's getting to that place.
You think so?
Last time you gave him a 3.5. So let me know where you're at this time.
Okay, I think this is a 5.
So if you get 2 sub 5 scores back to back, that has to mean something, right? Like,
I think it's a 5. But you know what the thing is? Because we've given like 3s, or I've given 3s to things before, and I've said like I'm not reviewing their music or I don't want to review their music anymore unless something changes, is because something doesn't change.
This is a change. Fair.
Right? For Post Malone, there's at least change happening. Also, Post Malone is a bona fide superstar type of dude. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, let's say a young boy, right? Where his stuff sells super well, but there's
levels.
There's levels. You know what I mean? Like Post Malone has, again, a compilation album called The Diamond Collection.
That's crazy.
Right?
Crazy.
So there's just like a difference in caliber of artists we're talking about. And also we're like, yo, Post Malone can't really make a bad song.
Yeah.
It's really like,
fair.
you know.
We're taking that for granted.
Yeah. So I think that 5 out of 10, right? Just for people who are not sure on the scale. It's
not 5 out of 5.
Yeah, it's a 5 out of 10. I think that the production is really stale around the parts that I mentioned. It's just like straight up mall rock, bro. It's like indie mall rock, like department store type of rock. And the songs where that's really good, like Novacandy. I kind of like Chemical because of the songwriting. And I like Something Real is a banger. I wish, give me 10 Something Reals. You know what I mean? For those tracks, the production is really, really good. You can see like the extra artistry in them. Yeah. And his vocal, I like his vocals because of the vibrato being able to sell the emotionality in his music. And then the songwriting, I think, is good most of the time. Right? Mm-hmm. I think he is selling the sadness, selling the drug addiction or the alcoholism. Yeah. He's selling the chaos very well in a lot of the songs. So it's a 5. It could be definitely better. Less mall rock, please. What about you?
For me, Post Malone's new album, Austin, it's a 4.5 for me. I think the 4 he's even getting is because I don't think he's making any bad songs. Yeah. I don't want to listen to some of these songs, but they're not bad songs. If I'm being objective, these are not bad songs. He's not making bad music. Mm-hmm. He clearly knows what he's doing. So for that, it's a 4.5. But I'll say this, before we, wrap up here, is that you talked about he's changing things, not like an NBA young boy. So we are keep reviewing him. The next change got to be drastic. I think if we get another mall rock, we gotta we
gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, because it's like there's so much good music coming out that we don't really need to, scrape the bottom of the barrel, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that. I think that if it's still more in this realm, it's going to get to a point where why are we still talking about Post Malone? And it's not because he's not incredible, because again, Beer Bongs and I love August 26th. Yeah. Right? I love that mixtape. Beer Bongs and Bentleys, I like it a lot. Yeah. Stony, I like a lot.
Oh, yeah, he has a lot of good stuff.
A lot. Big Lie and shit like that. I love those songs, okay? It's just this this foray into rock, but also kind of indie, so a little bit bluesy, a little bit country. It's not working. It's not working artistically.
It's not.
I think that he wants that. I actually think he wants to be more of like a rock, country, blues artist. I do think so. I think he's even mentioned that before.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not working though.
It's crazy. I think this is where he's going to stay. And I also actually agree with him. Even though I agree with you that it's not working. Yeah. I think he's making the right decision in doing that. I think the longevity of his career and him having that, random hit 13 years from now, this is how that goes. I always think about someone like Snoop, Drop It Like It's Hot came out in 2004. That's 10 years after Doggy Style. For a lot of people who are our age, that's the first big Snoop song we know, and it's like, we learned that he's a legend. We find out about him, but part of his longevity is that he has this song that is from our childhood while he's 10 years, in the game, well after his prime. And I think Post Malone can have something like that as well. So it's been a while since he's had a huge hit. I don't think he needs it per se. Me neither. But I do believe that he can make that next step.
It would be nice to have a good Post Malone album. It would be nice to have a good one. I think it's been, when was Beer Bongs and Bentleys? That was 2018.
2018. Hollywood's Bleeding is kind of like borderline because there's some good songs on there. Yeah. But you're right. It's been quite some time. For all my people on YouTube, who are at this point in the video. Like, share, subscribe. I want to see y'all in the comments. Please let us know. If y'all Post Malone fans, let us know. What are we missing here?
Yeah, what are we missing?
What are we not understanding? Please let us know. Make sure you follow us on all the interwebs. Twitter at Album Mode Pod, TikTok at Album Mode Pod, Instagram at Album Mode Pod, and of course, leave us a rating and a review. If you love Album Mode, you want to see us go up the rankings, want to see us get all the way up there, leave us a rating and a review, 5 stars, not a single star less, on all your podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, and of course, until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Later days.